Hello, today we're doing another album covers video, and honestly, it took me forever to sort through in my own head how I was gonna section this off into categories or like individual videos, because if I go genre specific, I'm just limiting the audience. If I do decade end lists, first of all, I'll run out eventually, and second of all, it's just stressful because that's such a big pool of covers to choose from, and I have so many favorites from each individual year, so I thought I'll just do the most obvious option and go with a year-end list for last year, 2018. So yes, it is kind of random at this point, but let me know if you have a better idea, because I sure don't. This list is in no order, by the way. I feel like I feel pretty equally on all of these album arts. They just fit the music very effectively, in my personal opinion. So yeah, let's just get into it. My first pick was Cantoli Oh by Tim Hecker. I don't know exactly what is in this photo other than a bunch of broken parts and destructive flammables, but I feel like its clear, rusty industrial look kind of fits the crashing, squeaking, and metallic sounds that you'll find a lot of the time on Cantoli Oh. Its weeping ambiance absolutely feels like watching the world go up into flames, and the smoky, steamy texture to some of it resembles the visual look of fire, so both are emotionally relentless but have some sort of grippable sense of structure, which I love, and I feel like if you were to just glance at this cover or squint a bit, the first thing you're going to notice is just how stunning the composition is and the color palette is, and I think that's pretty interesting. So yeah, I really like this one. Next up is a somewhat obvious choice for me, because it was my album of the year of last year, somewhat controversially. Double Negative by Low. I feel like the squeaky clean, glossy background this has and the computer chip suggest something sleek and synthetic, and I actually like the typeface used on the back cover. It's kind of blocky and trendy, and I'm usually not into fonts like this, but I feel like this is one of those specific situations to where the context just sells it. Anyway, it's subtly cracked at the edges and actually presented to resemble a ghost or an alien, and I feel like this is a pretty cool parallel to how the music's presented ambiently, but its jittery, emotionally unstable tendencies just kind of creep up on you. So yeah, next up, this might surprise some people, but next up I put Don't Gas Me by Dizzee Rascal. I feel like when you consider the swag that Dizzee Rascal oozes as an MC, you feel that his confidence could sell anything, even this, like, Stone Age iFunny meme. It just really sells the profound artistic message that he gives zero fucks. I love it for that. Next up, I was thinking And Nothing Hurt by Spiritualized. In my view, this perfectly illustrates the whole appeal of this album to me, and that's Jason Pierce painting himself as a lonely, burnt-out rock star on the outskirts of modern music. So literally placing a lonely space traveler with nowhere to go on the cover is perfect, and I think the Morse code element of it kind of implies that he speaks a language he feels like no one else can understand. So yeah, next up I was thinking Aviary by Julia Holter. The way the figure is placed in this image and how she's faceless makes me feel like this is a character she's imagining herself to be. Either way, I love the fact that it's this younger girl going on a magic or mythological adventure in a dark forest or something like that. At least I think the earthly colors imply that. And speaking of the color palette, I think it's so individual and satisfying and smart too when you look at decisions like her being the only one in a bright or standout color. And I love the layout of the image too. I love how the edges fade out. It makes it look very natural. And I think the text is very delicate and, you know, gets the job done without distracting from the point of the image. Oh boy! Next up is Die Lit by Playboi Carti. Yeah, so this album was like set up to be great. When you look at the beats and the album art, it's just Playboi Carti as an MC is a hard no from me, and I'm sorry for anyone that this hurts. But I think concert halls have kind of a dark, ominous energy to them, and then keeping the grayscale at just darkest darks and lightest lights helps this image look striking and hypnotizing, and the purity of the whites adds almost an elegance to it. And I think all these things support the album's spritzy, narcotic production, and I just like how it literally illustrates the title. Like, he is diving headfirst into that crowd, and if no one catches him, he's fucked, but it's all for the purpose of keeping it lit till he fucking dies, so, you know, kudos to Playboi Carti, I guess. Next up is Sort Lave by Richard Devine. This looks like layers of glass colliding and breaking into shards, or like thin shreds of paper or something. It's just like a chaotic, tangled web of different materials crashing together, but still the fact the whole thing operates under a loose organizational system, and the grayscale is just a very thin window of light to dark, helps it feel a bit more consistent. So I really dig the approach to this one. Age of by One Tricks Point Never is what I was thinking after this. I think the text on the title here looks kind of cryptic and new agey, but also at the same time looks like it could have come out of an old book or something. And I should insert a photo of like the full CD packaging, because it's just like it's combining all of these different time periods and cultures in typefaces, and they all somehow just work together. It's really crazy to my eyes. And the cover itself looks like it could be some sort of like promotional poster for a weird sci-fi movie about a dystopian future. Never mind the source of light is like a fucking MacBook Pro too, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was some subtle consumerist critical undertone going on here too. Next up, it's Everything's Fine by Jean Grae and Quelle Chris. First of all, power couple. Wow. I think their artistic chemistry is as tangible in this photo as it is in the music, and it feels sarcastic, like they're embracing every way people are gonna stereotype them and imagine, you know, every element of the way they carry themselves to fall in line with their political awareness, and for them to look scholarly and strict, and every element of this album's commentary feels self-aware and witty too. Next up is the Last Blood Orange album, which I feel like uses a really smart parallel and is as graceful and angelic as Dev's sound. The way it so unapologetically paints dark skin as exquisite and stunning is just refreshing in context of everything being whitewashed in media, and needless to say, it fits how the music pushes the beauty in being different. And I love how the background uses dark and light elements to accentuate the dark skin and the white wings, and to my eyes it looks like it was taken in New York, which is a cultural melting pot, so it makes sense. Also, I don't know if it's just me, but its dim lighting and the layout with the car looks the slightest bit vintage and sophisticated, and I feel like Dev's music has that aesthetic as well. And I just associate dark city scenes like this with comfort in my own head, so that definitely helps too. Next up is Little Dark Age by MGMT. This looks like it's combining like gothic and psychedelic styles, but with a vintage finish. It looks like an advert for some sort of fucked Halloween carnival, which I love. And musically, it all intersects perfectly because you have older synths with a zany, whimsical energy, and a satirical personality, and pretty sinister vocals. Next up is I'm All Ears by Let's Eat Grandma. I think this perfectly illustrates Let's Eat Grandma's appeal as young artists, because I see an innocent sense of wonder in their will to create and experiment, and the cover looks crafty in a similar way, like it was made with glow paint or sculpted into this glossy structure, yet the way it's framed, the colors make it feel wispy and enchanting, like it's sticking out from the darkness and just stands as this flash of gentle beauty. Next up, I was thinking Nothing Is Still by Leone Mine. Being in transit in a grayed out world is exactly what this album feels like, and even connects in some sense to what inspired it, since that's his grandparents' immigration to America, and the twisted effect makes it feel like the outside world is just distorted into madness, and the text layout is perfectly placed on the horizon line too. It fits right in, gets the job done in an elegant and not too overbearing way. Lastly, I love the cover for Daytona. Because first of all, I think the image is utterly chilling, because I don't think people fully consider the extent to which those at the top of the fame ladder are exposed to drugs. But when I glance at it, I can't help but notice how much I like it from a design standpoint, from the color palette to the powdery, shattered border. And I don't know if this is reaching, but to me, this idea in itself reminds me of how drug addiction distorts your mind and you become unable to focus on its destructive implications. So, yeah, those are all my favorite album covers of 2018. I think I'm just gonna throw my list of honorable mentions on the screen because my camera's gonna die, so I can't say them to you face to face. But either way, thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. It's gonna be an LHG review. And I'm really excited. Have a fantastic day.